The Honourable, the Minister for Regional Development.
Thank you, President. I seek leave to make a personal explanation.
Is leave granted? Leave is granted. Minister for Regional Development.
Thank you very much, members. Now, I must admit I was hoping to avoid this, that my plan, which I had all mapped out, that early January I was going to sort of come back and I was going to just resign and slink away. It is very embarrassing to have this fuss again. So this is my, I think, third valedictory backhand. And I will, they say never, but I will tell you, I will absolutely swear this is totally my last valedictory. Interestingly, it was almost 30 years ago when I first stood in this place on the other side to give what was then called a maiden speech. I think I'm sort of almost as nervous now as I was then, although I was much better prepared then because I'd spent 3 weeks writing it rather than trying to put this together in the last hour. But look, one of the things that I do want to I did in that speech call for the abolition of this House. And not that I just favoured ordinary unicameralism. I was a great supporter of the thing called mixed member proportional representation, as they have in the German parliaments and in New Zealand, where you have single member constituents and list members sitting together. But I really have changed my mind on this, and I know our dear leader, the Leader of the House, Honourable Sue Ellery, does tell me I've been institutionalised. But I really have changed my mind about this. I actually think that there is a real purpose here. And I think it's a better structure, the one that we have, where you have a lower house where government is formed, where you have single member electorates, where you get, shall we say, the mainstream opinion expressed, and you have that stability to form government. I've seen in mixed member proportional parliaments the difficulty often of having to cobble together a coalition. And I don't think that is good for the stability of democracy. So we, in our system, I think we get it right. And I think particularly with this electoral reform that we will be having in this place. And I note we had some debate on this morning, but I think in this the upper house has that ability to provide a greater array of community opinion. And I think that, and those with our reforms that that will be proceeded with at the next election, I think we're going to see a more nuanced range of interests. And I know there's some members opposite that think that the only dichotomy is city versus country, and I don't think that is accurate. And I think what you'll see is a much greater a diversity of opinion, where there's people in the city and people in the country, probably not, the Honourable Wilson Tucker, probably not supporting daylight saving in any large numbers, but certainly supporting legalised cannabis. For example, I think we will find yours will be a party and a cause that will certainly survive into the next election. So hopefully that what we're going to see is a sort of a very dynamic democracy taking shape in this place. Now, it might well be that at some point in the future we might have to go back to the people and maybe reduce the size of this place, but I think this is going to be something that is actually going to enhance and empower democracy. We will see, and it will allow new parties to emerge. New parties having the opportunity to form and to evolve. Now, I don't think, hopefully, that our party is one that does evolve. We come with a set of shared values of everyone having an opportunity and a place in the sun. But I think, and we've been able to evolve how that is expressed. But I think what we're going to see happen in this place is going to be immensely interesting, and I wish everyone here the very best of luck in dealing with that fluorescence of democracy. Now, I don't want to go over the ground I may have covered in some of my earlier valedictories, except to say that it really is an extraordinary privilege to have been able to represent the people of Western Australia, both in the state and the federal parliament. And I am immensely grateful for the faith that has been placed in me by the Labor Party and by the voters. And I know I have always tried very hard to honour that faith and really put my heart and soul into the job. But I have to say, I have been really taken aback by the volume and the kindness of people from right across this state that have contacted me, people from punters from Armidale and Albany to business leaders who've sent me absolutely beautiful messages since I have announced my departure. I hope it's not that I just want to make sure I go, but I promise that I will properly thank everyone after I complete the sprint to the finish line in my ministerial role. We have a lot to do in the next few days. I want to thank the Premier Mark McGowan, who invited me back to Parliament in the lead up to the 2017 election, and I really thank him for his astute and disciplined leadership and for the political acumen that has given us in Labor an opportunity over the last 6 years to win the support of the people of Western Australia and to move the state forward. And I really think that the work that we have done in restoring financial management while making strategic investments and courageous decisions about developing our state has been fantastic. And I really want to, in particular, thank him for his support and preparedness to prioritise voluntary assisted dying legislation. I know that was one of the things that motivated me to come back into Parliament when asked. And this has been an issue that the community had for so many decades, strongly supported, but it had been too much of a political hot potato for everyone to take up. And I think Premier and all of the team, we can all be very proud that we grasped the nettle and we dealt with that. Now, I have totally engaged with, I just want to speak a little about the portfolio. I have been totally engaged with this portfolio. I had an opportunity this morning to talk about regional development and our magnificent teams out there in our regional development commissions. But I just want to make a few comments about agriculture and hydrogen. And it was fantastic today to be, I guess, on my last day in Parliament, to be there with the Premier, to be able to announce the $320 million new research and development and biosecurity science facility that we are building out at Murdoch University. This is the culmination. We have been working on this project for the last 5 years, and it's been an issue that's been kicked into the long grass over the last 2 decades. But we have really worked incredibly hard to get the support for agriculture of this facility, and it is really going to benefit industry going forward, because the two ways in which government can best assist our extraordinary farmers in all of their hard work is to provide that research and development into agriculture and to provide first-class biosecurity. And having a facility that will literally be world-class is fantastic. Now, this is really, I guess, a culmination of the work that we have been doing over the last 6 years to really rebuild that capability in the department after the great contraction. And it hasn't been easy, and certainly the MOG process has been a challenging one, but an incredibly important one. And we have certainly, I think, got through that process, and we can see once again this department really becoming a really exciting place to work, where innovation and energy just oozes out from all of those people that we have in that department. And I really want to thank the Premier and all of my colleagues who have supported the money that we have been able to put into agriculture. We stopped it going an extra 100. Every budget we've got a big allocation, whether it's the $131 million that stopped the department falling off the fiscal cliff that had been headed for, whether it's the $48 million for research and grain, our new $25 million to kickstart an amazing collaboration with all the universities and CSIRO. The rebuilding, and I must say this is the thing that probably excites me most, is the rejuvenation and rebuilding of our research facilities in the country, whether it's Frank Wise in Kununurra, the Carnarvon Research Station, the Merredin Research Station, and the extraordinary work that is going on to make sheep very environmental out at Katanning. Fantastic, and I'm just so glad I have been able to get the support of my colleagues to be able to do that. And of course, we've had fabulous partnerships, Oats Partnership, the Wine Partnership. My colleague here would tell me I had to mention wine. It is true, but I am known as the patron saint of wine. But that is, these have been extraordinary things that we've been able to do. Resourcing into grain, securing the fabulous AGIC. And this has really, I just think, has been such a satisfactory and important endeavour for what is, after the resources sector, the second biggest industry in WA. I want to, now, as well as doing that, I must say I have been inspired by those farmers who were wanting to explore new possibilities. So those farmers that were looking at how carbon farming and carbon sequestration could change their farming systems. How those farmers that have been looking at how we understand the complexity of our biological system, the complexity of our soils, so that we can develop farming systems that are less dependent on chemical inputs, that could be more productive, and that could produce food and fibre that would attract a premium. And this was very important, that we supported those farmers, that we were prepared to back them in, because they don't have the large agricultural industries necessarily backing them, because it is by nature something that is going to reduce their reliance on many of the agrochemicals. So we backed them, but we didn't stop doing all the conventional stuff and rebuilding all that conventional stuff. We got money through $30 million through our Agricultural Climate Resilience Fund and our Land Restoration Fund to back those forward-thinking pastoralists, those great people from the southern rangelands, great farmers right across the Southwest Land Division who were wanting to explore these possibilities. And I understand that change is hard, and that some advocacy groups were not happy that we were backing those farmers who wanted to explore these new farming systems. But despite the grief, I have to say I would do it again, because I really believe that there is great future opportunities arising out of really understanding and unleashing the power of the biology of the system. And that agriculture, rather than being presented, as unfortunately it is in some sectors, as the problem child in the climate change debate, in fact can be a major contributor, a major part of the solution. And I welcome all of those to come to, I think, one of my final acts, which will be our climate change, our Meaty Matters Climate Change and Cows conference on the 13th, where we will explore all these extraordinary opportunities that we have to make farming the really 21st century solution for so much of the issues that we face. It's also been fantastic to have the opportunity to develop the groundwork for renewable hydrogen industry in WA over the last 5 years. We have an extraordinary opportunity here to be a global leader in generation. But we know we don't want to be just dig and ship. We want to ensure that these lower energy prices and this availability of renewable hydrogen can translate into upstream and downstream processing, that we can finally have energy that's cheap enough that is going to make it possible for us to be producing iron, to be producing steel, and processing many of our other minerals. And again, thank my colleagues in Cabinet for supporting me. To date, we've got $167 million that has been allocated to this industry from state coffers, and we have made some real reform in the real progress on some of these regulatory matters. But I can't pretend that the job is all done, and I really wish us, as we go forward into the future, that we can continue this endeavour up, because this really is another fantastic opportunity for us to build an industry, and build an industry that is going to enable us to transition out of our dependence on fossil fuel. And again, I just, of course, as everyone always says, and they say it always because it is so true, that you couldn't do this work without the support of all of your colleagues. And again, I want to thank all my ministerial colleagues, and so many of the things that we've done have been joint progress, and also the staff of the offices of the other ministers, just so many fabulous people. I do have to give a shout out to one particular guy, and that's Dave Coggan, who has just been an amazing support to our team. And I should also, when talking about parliamentary colleagues, give a special shout out to Darren West. I do remember when the Honourable Darren West first appeared at a Labor Party meeting sometime in the 1990s. and he certainly created quite a titter of excitement amongst some of the younger female delegates. He was a pretty good-looking dude in his day. And I'm sure he certainly hasn't lost any of his charm. Now, my Chief of Staff, Cole Thurley, this morning instructed me that I was to mention him and say, and because I always do what I'm told, I am mentioning Cole, but no, really, as I've often said to Cole, I just could not have done this job without him. And I just think, you know, people like Cole who come out, have come from the public sector, who are smart and committed to good public policy. These are people that we absolutely need to value. So, Cole, thank you for being so smart, so strategic, incredibly hard-working, and not adverse to a bit of Minister Staff biffo. And you've kept in there. And I also want to thank Mark Scott. So even though the Premier did poach Mark recently from me, Mark was with me from the days in federal Parliament. I recruited him off the street, and then he came over as part of the team. Mark has just, I can't tell you how completely fantastic he has been, and how just that friendship with him has been so incredibly important to me. Daniela Mathers, my Deputy Chief of Staff, she has just done such an extraordinary job in both the hydrogen area and the collie transition, that first 4 years when our beautiful friend Mick Murray was the member. I didn't know whether Daniela was going to survive 4 years of hand-to-hand combat with Mick, but we got through it, and we're doing fabulous things in Collie. To Shelley and George, Shelley, who also came from the other office, and George, who've been our team up here in Parliament, together with the fabulous Chris and Ollie, a great little team that has represented and helped the ministers here in the Parliament. I've got Rika, my fabulous executive officer, but can't mention all the staff members. We're going to have a big shindig, dudes, in a couple of weeks, and there'll be plenty of time for that. A shout out also to Guy and Claire and Joe in the electorate office. And again, just wanting to acknowledge all of those public servants. And I said, you know, we go through these sagas, we talk about fat cats and bureaucrats, and we diss our public sector. And we do that to our detriment, because we can't be a good government. We can't be a good government without good people, and we have to make work in the public sector something that is financially worthwhile and also satisfying. So we've all got an obligation here to talk up those people that choose to work in the public sector. Sorry, and I've got to give a special shout out to Terry Hill, who did me an immense favour in coming, getting off his yoga mat and getting back into the saddle and coming and helping us get all the DPIRD team really very well focused for the future. And look, I have made some absolutely great friendships over the last 7 years, from joining the campaign in 2016. Obviously, there were lots of people that I knew already, but we are campaigning in those northern suburbs, and I do need to give a particular mention to the chief. A crouching chief, if I can say something as politically incorrect as that, is Sabina Winton. We had a fabulous time together campaigning, ending up sitting on Santa's knee and being photographed by the security guards who had swapped sides and came around to support us. And Sabina, it's just been fantastic knowing you on that same campaign. Obviously, the Honourable Kyle McGinn, when I first saw him come into an event, I gave him a bit of the rounds of the kitchen because of his outfit. He took that in good faith, and since then has been the most sartorially splendid, fabulous member in the Parliament. And of course, in 2016, working with Lara Dalton, who I'd actually first mentioned she should go into Parliament back in 2014. We didn't win that one, Lara, but we went on to do that. And of course, the fabulous time that we had with Kevin, Michelle, and doing our Thelma and Louise across the Pilbara during that campaign. And in the 2021, I had it was fantastic to be able to direct the campaigns for Rebecca Stevens in Albany and Caitlin Collins in Hillary's. Fabulous, brilliant to see these great young women hit their straps. And I know that I've always had, during my time in the Labor Party, those older people that supported me and mentored me and encouraged me, and it's always fantastic to have that opportunity to play that forward. And of course, I must thank the strongest faction in the Labor Party, and it's not one that everyone knows, but it is the group called Chicks from the Sticks, who are the Assembly members from regional WA, Divi, Lara, Jodie, Jane, Lisa and Rebecca. And Peter Foster, I believe you have given... I won't say how we incorporated you into the group, but you did a fabulous rendition at the last Love-In, and I'm proud to be the patron of the Chicks and to be the big chick. And sorry, and I forgot with my list, Ali Kent. It was just fantastic to be Ali. It was great to campaign with you through that last election. So to Sue and Steve, it's been fabulous working with you and this whole team. We've I think worked very hard and worked very well together. It's been fantastic, all of you. And indeed all of even our friends on the other side when we have our Thursday morning ritual boxing match, which I hope there'll be people that will step up and keep that spirit going. I want to, of course, and even though I promised I would not say that I would spend more time with them, because I've said that before and it's never happened, but I do, of course, as always, thank my fantastic family for all their support and really having to put up with a lot, having a person in the family, the matriarch perhaps, as a member of Parliament. But guys, truly, it is time for me to go after 26 years in the Parliament and 13 years in the ministry, and I really look forward to so many other people having the opportunity to step up to that role. And for me, I'm heading off for some great new adventures. Thank you all. Thank you. And Matt, you get your desk back. Well done.